From the Allen Media Worldwide Headquarters Studios, this is Deconstructing Dallas. Joining you today, Ryan Trimble, Sean Williams, and it's a somber day here in Dallas. We've lost one of Dallas's finest, Officer Rogelio Santander. He and his partner were injured last night by gunshot wounds. His partner, of course, Crystal Almeida. Officers responded to an altercation at the Home Depot off Forest and 75 last night, and we learned today that Officer Santander has passed away earlier this morning, and we're bringing this episode to update you on the situation and how you can help. But right now, let me bring in my co-host, Sean Williams. Sean.
Our thoughts and prayers are with Officer Santander's family. He was a 3-year veteran of the Dallas Police Department, badge number 10934. He and his partner both were 3-year veterans. Crystal is also a 3-year veteran of the police department. And, last night we had an opportunity to see our Dallas Police Department at their best, even as they had heavy hearts, even as they were mourning the loss, or at that time, someone that they knew that were in serious critical condition. They still put that aside to do their jobs, to chase down the suspect in this incident. And, I want to definitely say thank you to those folks for getting him off the street and for the diligence that it takes in order to go about not only just a pursuit, but an investigation to find someone who is evading them and doesn't want to be caught. And, we'll talk a little bit later to Detective Frazier about not only how folks can help these officers whose lives and whose families have been changed forever by this incident, but also he talks a little bit about kind of what happened last night as it relates to the chase.
Sean, I know this is something that hits close to home for you. Obviously, if our listeners don't know, you spent some time as a civilian with the Dallas Police Department and know quite a few of those folks that serve our city. You know them quite well and spent some time with them. And we both were here helping out during 7/7/16 when we lost 4 DPD officers and a DART officer during that shooting episode. So it's a yet again here we are with another situation in our great city, and the thing that we can take to heart is that our officers are among the finest in the nation.
As a member of the police department, it was not until right there at the end, because I left the department to come here about 3 weeks after the incident in July 2016, and throughout my tenure for a number of years before, we had not lost an officer in the line of duty.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't think any of the officers take for granted that they literally are putting their lives on the line every day to protect us. But it is very sobering here, not quite 2 years later, to have another loss of life in the line of duty. But it underscores the oath that these officers and the oath that law enforcement officers take when they swear to protect us, when they swear to put their lives on the line in an incident like what happened on yesterday. And so, we again want to just make sure that we continue to support the officers who are doing their job to the fullest every single day. And I know we had a number of folks throughout our city, throughout our county, who were involved in this investigation to make sure that someone, the suspect here, was brought to justice.
That's right. And, we were in the Trimble household. We were watching. My wife, of course, is the chief of staff for the Dallas County judge. And I know Judge Jenkins was at Presbyterian Hospital during the press conference. And so we were keeping a keen eye on the situation in our household. And I know you were a little closer to the action last night and saw some of the when it was coming to a conclusion.
Yeah, last night was trivia night. And so we were out at Ivy Tavern doing trivia night, and then, right around 9 o'clock, you started hearing sirens and more sirens and helicopters. We also have someone here in the office that lives close to that area who reported hearing the same thing. And then we went outside, and you just saw a stream of lights, a stream of police cars coming through. I think if it was 100, I wouldn't be surprised that came through. And then we realized that it was the chase of the suspect. But I knew that I'd never seen anything like it. And so I immediately realized that this had to be associated with the shooting that had happened earlier. And, fortunately, it was brought to a conclusion without any additional injuries or loss of life.
Well, so, pretty interesting and obviously, scary stuff, and grateful that we have dedicated individuals serving our city that, keep us from having to see some of this stuff. So why don't we take a break? We're going to be back to visit with Detective Frederick Frazier of the Dallas Police Department, also the chair of the Assist the Officer Foundation. If you want some more information on that organization, go to atodallas.org. We hope you'll join us in supporting our brave men and women and those that are fallen, those that are injured, and their families. So back after a quick break. Thanks for joining us on Deconstructing Dallas. Deconstructing Dallas, Ryan Trimble and Sean Williams. And Sean, we are pleased to have our special guest today, Detective Frederick Frazier of the Dallas Police Department. Detective Frazier is also the chair of the Assist the Officer Foundation here. And we wanted to, bring you in, Detective, and visit with you about last night. And we have a lot of folks in our world that they've reached out and they want to know how they can help.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the events that happened yesterday are events that happen all over America. It's an unfortunate situation, but we have a wall downstairs that now has 85 officers on it, 85 dead officers that have died in the line of duty in the Dallas. And so when you have that, you kind of figure out how to do it. You figure out how to help one another and how to help those families. So we started our foundation in '99 to just do that, to help those families, not only for death, but if you got an officer, that's been hurt, that's broken a leg, that's been shot, that has cancer. There's so many different facets of a person. That's what the foundation's for. So what we're going to do on this, like we've done in the past, is raise money, raise awareness, and then at the end of the day, money's going to go to the fallen officer and to the injured officer. The fallen officer's family will obviously receive the money, and the injured officer, who's going to have a long-term rehabilitation process, will need that money to rehabilitate herself, and it's going to be needed. You have a young officer that hardly has any time on this department. That means she doesn't have any sick time. She has no vacation time, and she's got almost a catastrophic injury. Who knows how long she's going to be out. So we come in and we're going to provide that assistance for her to seek other treatment, to pay those bills, and just to make ends meet for life.
And, obviously, I know you from my time at the police department, and unfortunately, these are things that you see. But even coming in here at the DPA to see your members, officers are still going about their job. They're still doing things, but it's still opportunities for the community to show that they care.
Absolutely. And that's why we created Assist the Officer Foundation, because we know that, it's no different than last night when we were in chase with this scumbag, and we saw people, pointing to go get him, and wanting to do, they want to do something, right? So then when the end result is they want to open up their wallets because they know there's no reason sending a card. Well, they can send a card. That's great and all, but they know the monetary value is going to be more than anything. So they want to send a donation in. They want that money to be used towards that officer's whatever needs. And that's where we come in to direct the funneling of that money.
And where can people go to find you if they want to make a donation?
Yep. Well, you've got our Facebook site. We've got our Dallas Police Association Facebook site. We've got our Twitter page for Dallas Police Association. All those have links on there that are already pinned for our donation page for Assist the Officer Foundation. Or you can go directly to assisttheofficerdallas.org. We have a donation page. It's set up already running, and they can go direct donation there. All the proceeds from that go into these accounts that get the money into the donation, all the proceeds are going to these families, minus the credit card fees and the processing fees. There's no way we can get around that. We've tried for years. That's how they make their money.
Last night, I was at the Ivy Tavern, which is right down the street from where you all eventually apprehended the suspect. And, I saw more cars than I've ever seen with flashing lights going to chase this guy down. And, I know you were part of that pursuit from the moment that the call went out. I know you can't get into investigation talk, but can you talk a little bit about what happens when something like this goes on and how you get involved with what you do at the police department?
Well, that's and I can talk about where what happens in a police chief, what happens in a mindset when you have an individual where you have almost a code 100. Our code 100 is to destroy, to make sure that person is not going to hurt the public. And we were in a situation like that with this guy. We have him shooting at the police officers as he's driving. He's hitting squad cars. He is driving reckless. He's going through yards. Y'all saw it on the news. He's driving in places of our city where you don't have a police chase. You've got a high volume of the public walking across these streets, and you've got this individual in a stolen vehicle that is driving like a maniac, and all he wants to do is get away, and he does not care for life. All he wants to do is get away. And so we're doing our best to contain him in areas, setting up perimeters all the way around where he's driving. You've got the helicopter on top, guiding most of us where we're going, cutting off, calling out cross streets. It's a lot like the movies, other than you're a NASCAR driver at the time, and you're in a car that's not built for NASCAR. You're in a car that's built to do everyday job, but you're driving it to where the wheels come off, and I can't describe it. But the one thing that's you attribute to this police department is the men and women on this department did everything they could as professional as they could. And you've got half of them in that chase last night that never been in a chase.
Yeah.
They've never been in a chase ever in their life. They've only heard of them. The chases, when I came on the department 23 years ago, we chased people every day. And we chased them until the wheels came off. And it was scary, it was fun, but it was controllable. So you have guys out there and girls out there that have never been in that chase, and they're trying to figure out, what the hell am I in right now? They've done not one car was wrecked. No citizens' cars were wrecked. The only damaged property was the scumbag running into the parked car where he was at. So you have minimal damage, no injuries, and you got a bad guy in custody.
That's amazing. That really speaks to the training that goes into getting your guys and gals on the force ready for being out on the streets and keeping us all safe. So hats off to y'all.
And again, I still think about officers are taking calls today. Officers are people are calling 911. People are needing help. And even through a process of grieving a brother who has been killed in the line of duty and a sister who's still injured, they are still protecting our citizens, still taking calls today.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this job. It never stops. When those officers went down, the other shift was coming in. And when that shift got off, another shift came in. When that shift got off, another shift came in. It's still rolling. I went out this morning at 5. We ran warrants, and it weighs on you. You thought about what you just saw. You thought about what you just did, and now you're back in the action, and you're doing it all over again. It just doesn't stop. And that's the one thing the citizens don't see. They see, they're just driving around in squad cars. trust me, those officers are doing so much you just don't see. And that's a good thing, because they don't want you to see those things, because that's the part of the element of life that we would rather not, that criminal element, we'd all rather not be there, but it is there. And those officers are facing evil every single day, and they're getting it away from you. And that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to protect